What's going on, everyone? I appreciate you for checking out this video. If you clicked on it based off the picture and the title, or if you are a subscriber of mine, then you know I go by the name of Macadon. And if you don't know, welcome. As you can see, the main topic that I will be talking about in this video, it was called the Black Vote Impact. But before I get into that, I do want to cover a couple other things that's happened in recent weeks. So hope you guys enjoyed. But if there's something in particular that you would rather listen to within this video, I will have timestamps in the comment section so you can check it out on what exactly that you would like to hear and going about your business. But if you are the type that like to listen to commentary from different people, you know, if you're a listener of podcasts, and hopefully you'll be able to sit back and enjoy the whole thing. All right, so let's get into it. First off, I just want to cover one thing. To those who are familiar with my videos throughout the years, I know it's since the last time I put up a video has been like 2.5 years ago, mainly because I didn't have the drive. I didn't have the motivation to want to put out another video. But with things that have been occurring in recent weeks, it finally ignited that spark in me to where now I want to put out, some content, some video, just videos of me just speaking on some things that are somewhat dear to me, just something that has been on my mind and I just want to put forth out there. I always like to give out my POV, what I like to call my perspective, opinion, views on certain things. And the main topic, the Black Vote Impact, is something that I've been wanting to talk about. I want to put my POV out there, how I feel about it. Like I said before, I got the drive to now want to put out a video, and it's no guarantee that I'm going to be doing this every week. Every now and then I might, but I'm going to try to make it I'm gonna try to make it a somewhat of a priority to want to put out some stuff. So we'll see how things turn about. But I hope you guys enjoy the ride. Alright, so let's go get into it. I gotta say, when it comes to black people, back in 2007, 2008, when black men have come on the YouTube and they start talking about certain issues, more so about, black women and this thing, there was always this fault, always this blame placed on black men. And black men just took it upon themselves to say, hey, okay, we have a voice. We have some things that we think is detrimental to us as a whole, or there are some things about black women that we don't like, that we like to express our views and opinions. That's how it was in the beginning. And then slowly but surely we started going into other things. We started talking about racism. We started talking about, interracial relationships. And also we start talking about black relationships, and we start talking about how black men and black women, what flaws or fault we found with each other, and we wanted to speak on it. And of course, that also turned into this whole black men, black women bashing, black men versus black women, that whole nonsense. You had certain types of black men who would speak such vitriol towards black women, and vice versa. But now, then I say maybe 9-10 years later, 2017, 2018, 2019, we're starting to see a little bit of that, but we're also starting to see this teamwork, so to speak. This teamwork of black men and black women getting together to fight for the greater good when it comes to black people as a whole. This economic empowerment, this black awakening, this wanting to fight against systematic oppression, fight against injustice when it comes to us. So I gotta say, from where we were 10, 11 years ago to where we are now, I'm somewhat proud of that. But within that, there are some things that I found to be that I'm kind of disappointed in or I disapprove of. I like the fact, like I said before, that black people are getting together. They're waking up. Black people are now starting to create their own content and putting it out there for people to hear. They're putting out their own POVs, what I call perspective, opinion, and views on certain issues that affect us. But I also hate how we have this, what we call, quote unquote, cancel culture. Something within our culture. There are certain people that we like to cancel because they have an opinion that is different from ours. Or there are actions that they may have initiated to where we just cancel them based off of that, instead of giving them another chance. You know, there are those who may have seen the error in their ways and they want to correct it, but we are so quick to just say, hell no, we're done with you, you're out of here. And I don't like that. I understand why people are like that, because they feel like, you know, they've been let down and they can't trust them anymore. So it's like, hey, it's kind of like that, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. But now it's getting to the point where people are like, fool me once, shame on you, you're done. Like I said, I understand that, but at the same time, I don't want to fall into that group of people who just want to cancel somebody based off of one incident. You know, I like to give people a second chance, especially when they're saying some things that make me look at them and go, okay, all right, let me see what you're about. All right, whatever it is that you're trying to do, I hope you can accomplish it. But at the same time, you're not going to get scot-free just because, you know, I'm giving you this chance. I'm going to keep hammering on your ass. I'm going to keep hammering down on you about, hey man, you're not doing this. You need to step up. You need to do this. I think black people as a whole, we need to start doing that. Instead of canceling people, we need to give people a second chance. But at the same time, we need to remind them, hey man, you slipping, you know, you're effing up. You know, we're going to dismiss you if you don't get it right this time around. You better do what you said you was going to do for black people. But yeah, this cancel culture nonsense, I don't really buy. It's this idea that, you know, someone would like a group of people to go the same direction that they're going. You know, if they go right, they want everybody behind them to go right. Or if you have a person, or maybe 2 or 3 people who decided to go left, those people shame them for going left. And I think that's something that we shouldn't do. I think it's distasteful. I think it's immature. But the thing is, when I look at people who do that, I look at them as doing that as a reason because they feel like those people who have turned left, they could look at those who turn right and try to sabotage whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. So I feel like that's the reason why people shame those who do go left. But I think the solution, or maybe just the idea of those who go left, if you do decide to go in the opposite direction, don't try to take it upon yourself to sabotage those who are trying to do something when it comes to them going right. Just stick to what you know, to what your belief is, and leave it at that. And if those people who decide to turn right want to do whatever it is that they want to do, let them. But yes, I do like the idea that black people are now using their platforms to speak out against injustice and try to speak on about economic empowerment when it comes to within their own group. Just like every other group tries to speak about injustice or economic empowerment within their groups, I don't understand why black people as a whole, we can't do the same as well. And if you do happen to have someone who has an opinion that's different from yours, there's no need for you to try to sabotage that person. Because reality is everybody is not going to get on the same page. And at times there are people who are on the same page, but their actions, they may take another route from yours. But at least both of y'all are going for the common goal when you guys do happen to get on the same page, but your opinions and your views may differ. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, all right, So the first thing that I want to start off by saying is I just want to give a big shout out to 21 Savage. You know, I heard yesterday that posted bail, so he's out. He's a free man. He's with his family, his children, so that is a good thing. That is a positive. However, it's still a situation that he still have to go back to court, and there's still a chance that he may still get deported. I hope that's not the case. I know 21 Savage and this defense team are going to try to fight tooth and nail to try to keep him here and not go overseas. So I'm riding with your young brother. You know, you're doing a lot in Atlanta. You know, you're waking people up. You're definitely encouraging and pushing forth when it comes to improving what's going on within the black community there. So just want to give a shout out to 21 Savage. I hope he beat that issue. Also in the media, your girl Joy Villa. You know, the only time we hear about Joy Villa is when the Grammys come around. You know, for those of you who don't know, she's a singer. I don't even know if she's an R&B singer, but she is a singer who happens to be a big supporter of our president. You know, she's entitled to that. But with her political viewpoints, she always bring it into, I guess you could say, into the entertainment world. And what's interesting is that recently at the Grammy Awards, you know, during the red carpet when they were taking pictures, of course she had a dress that representing building the wall, the wall that Trump is trying to build. You know, she greatly supports that, and so she had a dress to signify that. And that's cool if you do support Trump. You know, you're entitled to your opinion. But my issue is when there have been conservatives who have gone after liberals saying, hey, how about you guys take politics out of the entertainment? Why don't you take politics out of any sporting events, any award shows? They look at Colin Kaepernick. Why don't you take politics out of football? They look at Beyonce at the Super Bowl. Why don't you take politics out of the Super Bowl halftime show? They look at Jesse Williams at the BET Awards when he gave a speech about police brutality and racism. Why don't you take politics out of award shows? So conservatives have an issue with liberals bringing politics into the entertainment world. But then when someone of their own does the exact same thing, you know, they're championed, they're giving applause, they're giving them the thumbs up for doing just that or showing their support. But I'm confused because I thought you guys say that politics should not be mixed in with entertainment. But let the conservatives tell you that only means if you're a liberal Democrat. If you're a liberal and Democrat and you do that, you know, we're against it. But if you happen to be a Republican / conservative, then it's okay. That's the idea that they seem to be sending out. That it's okay for you to be conservative and support our president, to mix politics with entertainment. But if you are someone like a LeBron James who speak out, you know, you got to shut up and dribble. So that's kind of interesting how that plays out. Like I say, I see the hypocrisy with Democrats and I see the hypocrisy with Republicans, but just that particular situation was very interesting how, you know, people on the right were so flip-floppy about that. Keep politics out of entertainment if you're a liberal, but keep it in if you're a Republican. I also want to touch on two stories that happened back in my hometown, Montgomery, Alabama, that I want to address. I think some of you guys are familiar with Gavin McInnes. Now, for those of you who don't know, he is the founder of the group The Proud Boys. You know, a far right-wing extremist group that many of us would consider to be. But let the founder tell you, they're not really a hate group, but they're more of a pro-Trump drinking club, according to McInnes. So McInnes was in Montgomery, Alabama early this month. I think it was February 4th. and he spoke at a news conference in front of the SPLC building. And for those of you who don't know what that stands for, that's the Southern Poverty Law Center, where they monitor far-right extremist groups and other hate groups. And the SPLC has labeled the Proud Boys as a hate group. And if you go on their website, you'll see something like the Proud Boys have an ideology of general hate and are known for anti-race, anti-Muslim, and misogynistic rhetoric. And so that domino effect that the SPLC implemented, it happened to cause Gavin McInnes' social media platforms to be annihilated. And so in return, McInnes, he filed a lawsuit against the SPLC, stating that his livelihood has suffered because of their actions. And so he went down to Montgomery, Alabama, and spoke in front of the SPLC building about how he feels like he's the victim in the whole situation. So that's when I saw the news about that, I was like, wow, okay. Good luck with that, McInnes. I doubt you're going to win that lawsuit, because based off the actions that the Proud Boys have initiated back in New York, it pretty much are a hate group. I mean, if you're gonna beat somebody and call them the F word, of course, let them say it, that they were just in defense because of Antifa protesters. But according to some video and some news articles, they say otherwise. So, McInnes, I doubt you're probably going to win that one, buddy. But we'll see. We'll see how that turns out later on in the year, because I'm sure we'll find out. Also, what happened in Montgomery, Alabama, I've touched on this in past two videos of mine when it came to the shooting death of a black man by the name of Gregory Gunn at the hands of a police officer who happens to be white, A.C. Smith. If you want to check out those two videos where I give detail on what happened, you can check it out. The first video, I forgot what it's called, but you can check that out, and along with video 2, where I gave an update about the officer being charged for his murder. So now here we are, and this is the latest on that case. So Officer Smith's defense team a few months ago, they wanted a change in venue and judge. A change in the judge because they claimed that it was due to the judge's findings. The man named is Judge Griffin. His finding in the case, he felt like the officer A.C. Smith, he believed his testimony was not credible. He didn't believe that Smith's actions were justifiable under Alabama's use of force law. So therefore, the judge denied immunity for the officer. And the defense team also wanted change in venue stems from believing that Smith won't receive a fair trial from the city of Montgomery jury. And so with that, the Alabama Supreme Court, they granted the change in venue and judge. But now the Attorney General's office, a guy named Steve Marshall, he's asking to reconsider the move and the replacement. And the Associate Justice argued that, hey, the judge's duty is to decide if Smith's testimony was even credible, and it was. So that's just a small summary of where we are with this. The defense team wants a change in judge and venue, and the prosecution are like, no, hell no. We don't grant the change. We don't want the change, and here is the reason why. And now the Smith's teams have 2 weeks to file an opposing brief. So it's basically a drag type of case. We're in limbo, so to speak. And of course, the families of Smith and Gunn are like, can we get this over with, please? So that's where we are so far with that case. Anything else that's the latest, I'll be sure to fill you guys in. Now, into the main topic of what I'm getting ready to discuss, the black vote impact. So there are 2 things happening here. One is the suppression of black people's votes and the lack of effort to enact specific benefits for black people. Come election time, it's amazing the coincidence this tactic only occurs by Republicans, and yet conservatives get on the internet and tell black people about Democrats started the KKK and that it's the real racist party. Well, guess what? They have migrated over to the Republicans. And Republicans have shown through their actions they don't trust the black vote. They are intimidated by the black vote. And they don't know how to get majority of black voters to vote on their side. There are black people who are Republican who are going out of their way to persuade blacks who will hear them to flip. But there are so many things that Republicans have to do to gain the trust of black people who see their disrespect. Republicans have brought it on themselves, and Fox News' help in pushing that distrust blacks have with Republicans. Criticizing and mocking blacks for speaking out against police brutality, criticizing and mocking rap artists / rap music, criticizing and mocking whenever black people bring up racism. Whatever black people do culturally or raise an issue about, black people are constantly criticized and mocked by Republicans / conservatives. So the black Republicans, if you want the black vote to vote Republican, there's a lot of criticizing and mocking that you will just have to stop, which I know you're not going to do, but just a little advice. And try to acknowledge and show more support whenever black people speak on the perils that we are enduring in our society. I mean, maybe just those little points. Maybe you guys can just take that in consideration, and maybe you'll get more black votes than what you have now, but we'll see. But for this upcoming election year, it looks like Republicans might not have to worry about attempting to sabotage the black vote. However, they're going to do it anyway, but they won't have to worry about it because there are black people on social media platforms who are putting their foot down, and they mean it when it comes to these Democratic candidates. It has nothing to do with Russian interference. This idea that there are Russian bots who are the ones who are posting this particular hashtag known as ADOS. When actually it's black people who show their faces or not showing their faces who are putting these hashtags out there. These hashtags are directed at certain Democratic candidates, letting them know that the black vote will not be given away that easily. And if the liberal media and pundits want to try and deny that, well, you're going to be sadly mistaken come election time. But a lot can change come November 2020, and it can start by actually coming up with specifics for black people, and not minority or POC, people of color, but for born black American citizens, BBAC. Now, we've seen this detachment from black Americans. Now, what I mean by detachment is this not trying to do anything specifically for black people, because you will get shamed, you get attacked, you'll get ridiculed. If you dared to try to do or speak anything for black people only, those 3 situations will occur. We saw that when it came to the onslaught on President Obama when he was in office, how he was ridiculed for attempting to speak specifically for black people. When Obama was president, and there was this spark that was attempting to get started with the whole blacks versus police type of ordeal. Y'all remember, this was back in 2009, right? The incident that happened with Henry Gates. I did a video about that back a couple of years ago, when the cops arrested him when he tried to break into his own house because he lost his keys, and a neighbor called the police, and Obama said the arrest was stupid. And man, the police across the country, they got so offended by it. And I gotta give props to Obama, man. I gotta give him respects in this regard. He never apologized for saying that what the officer did was stupid. And then, of course, you had the infamous back in 2012 when Obama said, if I have a son, he would look like Trayvon. And the right-wing media pounced on him. Oh, he's bringing race into this. What are you saying, Obama? Wow, you saying your son would look like Trayvon? Just Obama would get criticized if he spoke in favor of black people whenever perceived racial profiling was involved or the misuse of attacking the black citizen. Yeah, man, people forget the Henry Gates arrest and police officers being offended was 3 years before the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman tragic incident that catapulted this string of national attention to police shootings of black people. Yeah. But as I was saying, it seems like other groups, they take issue if a candidate were to speak specifically for black people. And I told someone this on another YouTube clip in the comment section. Not on any of my videos, but it was another video. I forgot what it was. I forgot what video I was replying to. But the person was like, black people don't need to be selfish when it comes to specific things that they want. And I'm like, black people deserve the right to be selfish, especially when other groups speak specifically for their own. Arabs, Asians, Chicanos, indigenous people, women, LGBTQ community. Every group has their specifics. Nothing wrong with you having an agenda for your own group. Fight the good fight. But people get up in arms whenever black people want to get together and start asking for specifics as well. And blacks are long overdue. Black Americans are long overdue. Black people should be in the front of the ticket line. And other groups just need to respect that. And so when it comes to the Democrats, these candidates need to understand that black people deserve specifics. They need to take heed of agendas that black people have written or spoken of. And if these Democratic candidates can't fulfill the request, then they will see a missing piece of black votes that they assume would come their way by those who are asking for specifics. Never mind the black people who vote Republican or black people who vote Democrat, but the black people who will skip out of voting due to not hearing about specific agendas for their group. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see those votes in 2020 Democrats. How big of an impact it will be? We'll see. I love seeing that there are black people putting their foot down, asking for specifics. There is a narrative that is pushed out there that black people, we don't want the pandering. We don't need a candidate to be down for the cause. We don't want to see them do the latest dance move. We don't need for a candidate to say this election will be lit. Whatever latest slang word is used by young black kings and queens. But we need a candidate to be direct when black people who have larger voices than mine are asking, what are the specifics that you as a candidate are going to do for black people? What is the black agenda that black people can get behind and put a vote in? And if a candidate happens to become president based on their stance when they answer those questions on what they will do for the black agenda, well, then that's when my black people really have to step up and start hammering down and letting these candidates who've been elected president know, hey, Mr. or Mrs. President, you're in office now for a reason. Do the work we ask of you, or else. No second term. Now, on the flip side of that coin, like I said, there are black people who support that, there are black people who support other black people who have a black agenda and getting candidates to get on board and speak what they will do specifically. But there are black people who recognize issues that affect citizens, American citizens, regardless of what race you are. There are in particular black people who represent a lower and middle class, who have families or loved ones that want a candidate that will bring a substantial issue to the table that they see will be beneficial. You have black people, as I said in a conversation with someone, that they're not going to take that person's word as law, especially if they're in a different tax bracket. Even myself, when someone tells me about a candidate and how they're not the one, they're not it, I'm sketchy of them. One, they may not like the Democratic candidate because they're talking about raising taxes on the rich when they themselves happen to be rich. I'm like, what's your tax return? You're telling me a whole lot about how you don't support this candidate, but what other reasons you're leaving out as to why you don't want a specific group of people to not support said candidate? I'm along the line of, hey, vote based off your economic interests. Do your own research. Do what is best for you and your family, and not based off of someone else's rhetoric. I'm not in the business of telling someone, hey, they're not it, don't vote for them. And I'm in that group of black people who are not easily persuaded, or as I look at, manipulated into not voting for a candidate based off of their narrative. For example, let's go and get into it. Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. These two candidates in particular have a lot to show me why they deserve the nomination, but I'm not just going to cancel them right away. If you want to cancel them, you're entitled to do so. I have no issue with you doing that. That is, if you did it based off of what you were looking for and what your research has shown you, and not what was told you, or what to look for, or told you, hell no, that ain't it. Nah. But Kamala Harris, when she was on the Breakfast Club, the media jumped on talking about how she said she was proud to be black and smoking marijuana. And on Black Twitter, people were clowning Kamala, saying how she's, or saying how she's a liar because she said she smoked weed in college while listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg. And I'm like, I've heard the exact same interview. Of course, people who don't like Kamala Harris are going to twist and misinterpret what she was referring to or answering. Listening to or watching the interview, clearly she was answering DJ Envy's question while ignoring Charlamagne's question. But, people who don't like Kamala, they're going to see it differently. If that is what you saw, you're entitled to that. But however, I disagree with how you see it. I saw it as she answered DJ Envy's question, ignored Charlamagne's. So you can debate that narrative all you like to. I don't believe it. I don't agree with you. I would refute it. So we would just be wasting our time with that one. But anyway, back to the Kamala Harris Breakfast Club interview. There was something in particular that she said within that interview that really got my attention, and that was her initiative for a bill for maternal mortality. Black women die at a higher rate compared to other races of women in America. And again, I'm talking about here in America, they die during childbirth. And it's such an unfortunate situation. I have homegirls who complained that during pregnancy they had stories about not wanting to do a natural childbirth, but doctors were telling them that they need to go ahead and do it the way they advised it. There are women, looking for epidural, but they wouldn't give it to them. I had a very close male friend whose sister died. She died from giving birth. So when Kamala Harris mentioned about that bill, I'm like, okay, that part what she was talking about, I was like, oh, okay. I'm not going to cancel her. I'm not going to cancel her completely. Just me. I'm not going to cancel her just yet. I want to hear more. Kamala, sell it to me. Make me a believer. Cory Booker. Now, there are black people who cancel him already, but I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that yet, because just because you're telling me to, I want to hear more. So in his Breakfast Club interview, he talked about a proposal that enacted called baby bonds, a bill that would give newborns a savings account that would be worth tens of thousands of dollars by age 18. The plan would offer all newborns $1,000 and then add up to $2,000 annually for children in low-income neighborhoods. Now here's where we see a divide, the argument when it comes to these two black candidates. Their bills or proposals doesn't speak specifically for black people. Like Cory's baby bond bill and Kamala's maternal mortality initiative isn't just for black people. However, based on the stats, low-income citizens, and pregnant women, it shows that those who are black would benefit more from the baby bonds and maternal mortality bills than any other group. And that is the conflict. When it comes to Corey's proposal, there are black people who understand and know what it feels like to be a part of that class, that low income class. They know someone who still is, or they themselves used to be in the lower economic class. But at the same time, they will go, hey, I'm not in the lower class. How the hell do I benefit from that? But when it comes to Kamala's bill, all black people would benefit regardless of what class you're in. The black woman will live through childbirth. The black man has his child and his queen. And we will start to see a decline in maternal mortality rates within black women. So speaking for the group of black people who are not easily canceling a candidate, I got to say, Kamala and Corey, you have a lot to show us, because we're looking more than just at you two. So as I get ready to conclude this, I just got to say, I'm loving the effort that I'm seeing where there are black people who are saying in their own way, we want specifics. We want specifics. But based off of the fact that Trump is in office and he might run again, and how other groups were hit hard by the Trump administration, they're going to be in unison and are going to vote him out by voting for a Democrat. But if the Republicans go the route of running for the election by being anti-Trump and not follow his template, they could, those groups, other groups could vote a Republican in too. This specific Black Agenda Crusade could have the potential of being a failure, because neither party really would need the black vote. And if you think it won't be a potential failure, then you're just delusional, because we've seen what happened in 2016 election when Hillary won the popular vote without the help of those particular black people who sat out voting. The only reason Trump won was the electoral vote. And another reason that it could be a potential failure, this specific Black Agenda Crusade, is that all black people in America are not on the same page. Come election time 2020, we will see where the majority of the black people lie and what impact the black vote will have. Will it be the black Republican crowd? Will it be the black Democrat crowd? Will it be the specific agenda crowd? Would it be the choosing the better candidate crowd? Or would it be the not liking neither candidate crowd? And what Democrats also need to understand, that black people are not just going to throw their vote in their direction because Trump is a moron and don't know what he's doing. Black people want a candidate who will either provide specifics for black people, attack and disable racial injustice, and improve economic growth. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out. It's your boy Macadon. Till next time, I'm gone.